one of the things that in your list where we want to start is the patterns for the upcoming season. All right. So, we got March. This is the second day of March. And so March, April, May. I know the bass guys are all gearing up. Spawn's right around the corner. I'm really not familiar with stripers. So maybe you can kind of start the conversation on that. What are we looking for, at least where you're fishing over the next month or two?
Just like the bass, the bass bite, the striper bite, there's a lot of patterns. And it's all all the patterns change based on water temperature, because whatever the bait is doing is based on water temperature, and the stripers follow the bait. That's all they care about, is where they're going to get their next meal. The thing you need to know is I'm going to give you a list of different patterns, and you guys can certainly add on to what I may be missing. But keep in mind that one pattern based on water temperature sometimes overlaps with a second or a third pattern. So there can be mutual or many different patterns going on, overlapping at the same time. But figuring out what the strongest pattern is at the time is what's going to get you to find the most fish. So this time of year, water temperature should be in the low 50s. Right now, it's closer to 58, 59, 60. We are just way, way ahead. Everybody is seeing blooming coming up on the trees and flowers blooming and stuff. So this is going to speed up our pattern and speed up the pre-spawn. But just to give you a quick list of what's going to go on for the next couple of months. So we're going to start seeing fish right now getting a little more. They're going to get shallow. Okay. They're in the backs of the creeks. Many of them, you'll find them in the backs of the creeks running around. You might see them on top, busting little threadfin shad. Most of the pattern you're going to find for the next 4 weeks are going to be fish eating itty bitty baits, like 1 to 2 inch long baits. And so that's one thing you're going to find. What's going to lead into that is we're going to see fish getting out into open water after that. They're going to be free swimming in the middle of the creeks. Up high. You might not even mark big groups of fish because they may be swimming 3 to 5 feet below the surface, just out over open water. So just to give you an idea, if we were to pick one creek on Lake Lanier that nobody's ever heard of, let's say Flat Creek, okay?
Right.
What might happen?
Oh, my secret spot is out.
Yeah.
Those fish may be in the back this week, and next week they could be in the mouth of Flat Creek over open water. One of the signs that's going to help you learn where those fish are is looking for the wildlife, the birds, whether it's loons, whether it's gulls, or whether it's heron. A blue heron. If you see a blue heron on a bank and his neck's extended, stop and fish that area, especially if it's in the back of a creek. If, on the other hand, you see loons diving, you want to get on top of those loons and throw on top of those loons, because the stripers will work with the loons to ball up the bait. If you look for gulls, there are 3 kinds of gulls that we find in North Georgia, and especially on Lake Lanier. I don't know if Jeremy has them on Carter's or not, but we have the big herring gulls. Then we have the majority of our gulls are these mid-size looking, what they call ringbill gulls. And then you have the real little small ones that everybody thinks are terns, but they're not. They're actually called Bonapartes. Those are the ones you want to find, the Bonaparte little gulls that are diving on the surface. That's going to help you find fish really quick. Once all that stuff is occurring, all of a sudden the fish are going to start migrating to where there's running water. Most of it is going to be up the 2 rivers, like the Chattahoochee and the Chestatee. That's when they're going to start making their spawning run. They don't all spawn together. All right. There may be groups of fish that are in different sizes, and the big females will run up, and then the males will sit on the points and follow the females up. Okay. And by the way, it's not just stripers. I've seen Alex do that with women as well, sitting on a point waiting. But anyway, that's
Alex, there you go. Alex, what do you say to that comment right there, buddy?
A few left-hand turners.
There you go.
I'm not accounted for anymore, so
There you go.
wrong.
Okay, I got you.
I'm just saying that because he's available, ladies. You know, and
he's a good-looking dude.
You're back swimming the river channel.
So the fish are going to run upriver and they're going to spawn. They're not going to be successful at it because our river systems, obviously, as you know, are not long enough to support a life cycle of dropping their eggs and tumbling. What's going to happen and that's all going to happen between now and say the middle of April. All right. Third week of April. When that's over with, these fish are going to come down from the river, not all at once. They're going to come down in groups over probably a 2 or 3 week period. Those fish are going to be hungry and they are going to eat with reckless abandon after they do their spawning gig, because just like us, after we get done, we're looking for a Snickers bar, so something
Snickers
to that
bar,
effect.
okay.
I mean, that's
Henry,
what
I just fall
I've
asleep.
never thought about a Snickers bar.
Well,
I just fall
that should
asleep,
be
Henry.
happening too. But those
Maybe
fish
just
will come
steak.
down, and the best place to look for them are on points, long tapered points, especially near the river channel, because they're coming back down from the rivers. Once that pattern has come and gone, you're going to find fish starting to get on humps and over brush, around brush piles and stuff. And so that's going to all this stuff is going to happen between now and say the middle end of May. Mixed in between that, you're going to have what we call, hopefully, the redfin bite, where you can go early in the morning or late in the day and use wake baits on the surface at low light, and especially on windy days when the wake bait is masked by the wave action of a lake, and you can throw these wake baits and get some really good topwater explosions.
Right.
Along with that is going to be the bomber bite is going to come back in the spring when you go out at night, and that's when you really want to put a GPS on Terry's boat, because that's nighttime fishing. You're going to find those fish, on points, and especially on sandy points. And one of the reasons sandy points, especially during the bomber bite, are good is because the gizzards will be spawning on the sand or around sand in shallow water. So these are all the things that are going to occur. And then by the time May and June roll around, we're going to get the shad and the herring spawn when that water temp gets up a little higher. And then, that's when the fun begins. That's when you just get a mixture of stripers and bass and everything else fishing shallow, they on rocky points and stuff, because when the shad and the herring have to lay their eggs, they need to attach to something. So you may see herring swimming around your motor in your boat. You may see them on seawalls. You may see them on rocky points. That's basically a 4-minute overview of what's going to happen between now and, say, May.